Okay, so before we start soldering, you want to make sure the area is clear from any of the components that are going to be used for the project. So you just put them in the box or wherever to the side if you don't have the box because you got excited, but just put them in a, this is too small, a Ziploc bag or something, because you want it to be clear because sometimes the solder drips from the soldering iron. And I do this after each soldering project. So let's say if I just finished soldering today, then I'm gonna redo it. So I just finished soldering, so I'm gonna re-tin it, right? So that it's ready for the next time I want to solder. And tinning the tip works wonders because so I'm just gonna take some steel wool, right, and do that to it because it actually helps with the binding of the solder. So you can see the tip is, you can tell that this tip is tinned frequently because there's like this, you know, ring that goes around. So just take some steel wool, sand it off a little bit. And the remnants that's there, you can just blow off with a little blower. Or you can get tape and tape it off if you don't want, that anywhere. Okay, see, so that, it's not tinned yet. So now what we're going to do is, this one, we can't use the Flux pen. So you have to basically use the regular Flux. And your tin will, you can't, your Flux will look like this after some time from, because I like to dip it in like that. Just dip it in, right? And then what I'm going to do next, close this. Always close it because you never want to accidentally drip solder in it. Okay, so now, whoops, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my solder, if I can, if it lets me, or keep it on the spool. And have your wire cutters handy. So what I'm going to do is, and you want it to be around the whole thing. So sometimes you might just have to take your hand and then just, finish caking it on. And also have a paper towel nearby, or just do that. That's fine. Just as long as you wipe your greasy fingers later. And then you just want it to melt on there. And it will. You're just going to turn it around, turn it around, turn it around. It's going to do it a little bit more. If you have a smoke detector, like I have one above my head, I might, you should cover it because if it gets smoky from the flux, you could set off your smoke detector. Yeah, so especially it's late at night and everyone's sleeping. I think it'll be okay. All right, so now what you want to do is, right, take your sponge and wet it. See how it's dry, just in case, All right, the flux is going to do all the work. So I'm just going to wet my sponge. You could always blow it, use a blower. I think maybe I'll use the blower, right, just in case the smoke starts going everywhere. All right, so then you get rid of your excess solder and of course wires so they don't fall off. Just get that. Just roll it up, depending on how far away it is from. And of course, start your soldering iron in the meantime. Set the temperature that works well for you. Mine is 823, so I always solder at 823, but that's because of the solder I use. Whoops, and you see, look, I turned on the soldering iron, and it's just dripping everywhere, which is fine. And this, this thing is, see, look at that. And it just melted on, and then I'll just dip it in this thing here. Whoops. Actually, got to make sure that the, just dip it in there. See? And then when you do that, it kind of cleans it. And I'm just blowing because I don't want the smoke to basically go everywhere into the smoke detector, which is above me. And then you see, look at that. Now my tip is tinned and ready for use. So now I can shut off the soldering iron and it's tinned. And if you feel like you need more, you could always add more. But now I'm ready to solder. Now I'm ready to sort my pieces out. And this is clean. This is heat resistant. This pad. This is a really good pad because look,